Hi everyone, hope you're doing well. So this is another bad support video, and I'm going to give you my experience step by step as how problems discovered and what I go through and what I find when I go through getting troubleshooting data. Apparently they're working hard in the kitchen today. So I did an on-site maintenance call to a client today. Normally when I'm there I back up one of the workstations. And I cycle through them all until I've got them all and then get multiple copies of the backups. Today, a machine that I had a conventional hard disk drive fail in last October that was replaced by a Samsung 870 SSD. The backup failed near the end, alleging that there are bad blocks on the new Samsung drive. So I was very dismayed. And luckily, of course, I have a backup from a couple months back, an image of the system, so I can just swap the drive out and restore it and move whatever data I need to. The machine's still functioning normally. I'm not going to reboot it just in case. But anyway, so this is new to me, you know. Bad blocks are I know, you know, with a conventional hard disk drive, I fix many bad blocks by using the extra sectors that they put on every drive to make the drive look pristine even when it's not. But I don't know how SSDs work this way. So is the firmware taking care of this, or has it already used up what's available? No idea. I've tried the Samsung Magician, and it doesn't seem to be very magical. It doesn't seem to really do anything so far. With a drive, I have a drive here from a server. Yeah, I know it's not a server quality drive, but they work fine. It says there's nothing wrong with this drive, but when I put it in the server, the RAID controller barks constantly talking about invalid senses, and it never used to do this, and it can't make a shadow copy of this during backup. So I know there's something wrong with that too, but Magician didn't tell me what it is. So I'm going to work on that one later. Anyway, so I haven't. So that's two bad drives in this week. I don't know what's going on, but you know what? I want to become knowledgeable on solid state drives with bad sectors and what to do about them. So here's the first bumbling idiot comments in response. Like, you know, if you don't know people, don't just make stuff up, because I'm sure this is what this is. So this guy's saying, I got a Samsung 970 EVO 2 terabyte that's been working perfectly for a year and a half under mostly read load. I don't know how he knows that, but anyway. Recently, while updating Windows to the 2004 release, so he's doing a feature upgrade, the operating system got stuck in a rollback loop. Trying to fix it with command prompt, blah blah blah. Check this, said lots of bad clusters. So he has a bad drive, or what I think is a bad drive. So anyway, so I get down to the answers part. Here. I would install Samsung Magician software and perform the basic tests, and your drive should always have a warranty of 5 years, 120,000 writes. I would get a replacement if the Samsung software is able to detect problems. Well, what I find is the software doesn't detect problems. Think of this. You're going to download software from a manufacturer to determine that he's going to have to honor a warranty claim. I don't think that's going to go very well, because I'm sure it's designed not to honor warranty claims by not finding anything. Anyway, and then of course the guy comes back. Magician software refuses to do the diagnostic test, not supported, and reports drive health to be perfect. Exactly my point. Samsung Magician is a magician for the manufacturer, not for the end user. So he says, I would start with basic troubleshooting steps, isolate and eliminate. Perhaps the file system is just borked. I don't know what B-O-R-K-E-D, I don't know what that's all about. I know it's pain, but have you considered a wipe and reinstall? Maybe try a different system as well, as there could always be issues with the motherboard causing these problems. What? How do you get a motherboard? Try a different system? What kind of advice is that? It's terrible. You can't search for help on the internet, because this is the kind of garbage you get. Anyway, and he replies back, I'm running fine on another SSD, but my concern is whether the SSD with bad clusters is any good. He says borked. If yes, should I try to use the warranty? If not, I'll waste time and money sending it to Samsung for nothing. Well, I'm sure when you try to use the warranty, they're going to ask you questions. And one of them's going to be, does the Samsung Magician detect a failure? No, not valid. You don't send it, we're not honoring it. That's what, that, 10 to 1, that's, I guarantee you that's what's going to happen. Anyway, and then the guy says, the Magician software doesn't do anything. This is a professional drive, not a consumer model. There's a separate diagnostic program. I don't know about that. I looked into it. I didn't see one, but I wasn't looking for it. I don't have a professional model. You know, memory chips are memory chips. Anyway, okay, here's some answers now. Dead blocks that don't show in SMART are usually due to a faulty bad quality SATA cable. They are? A faulty bad quality SATA cable. For 25 years I've been working on computers, and SATA has not existed that long, probably only about 15 years. And I have never replaced a SATA cable to solve a problem in a computer. Never seen it ever. Very bad. End user armchair guesswork is what that is. He knows nothing what he's talking about. And he says it's not that unusual. It's very unusual, unheard of. Sorry. Oh, guys, this is Sparky. He's coming to be in a video. I guess I better let him hang out, eh? And then he says, you could try replacing the SATA cable, see if that helps. I just shake my head. Just waste my time. Just stop wasting my time. Anyway, but normally by the time the OS sees bad blocks, the disk is past dead. That might be half true, because normally the disk should substitute bad blocks when detected with the spare ones, and then once it uses them up, then the operating system detects them. So I suspect that's what's going on here. This drive is in serious pain, and all the spare clusters have been used, and now we're into the ones that are being used that are going bad. So the whole thing is probably going to go bad very shortly. Hope you got an image of the machine, and save all your recent stuff since you did the image, and then you'll have to paste it all back together. Anyway, it doesn't matter if it's a hard disk drive or solid state drive. The drive firmware is supposed to remap bad blocks to its internal stock of spare blocks. That's very true. If the operating system sees bad blocks, the stock is already exhausted that. I agree with that also. And there is an internal problem with the drive firmware making it unable to do the remap. Now that's a suggestion. So I have downloaded the firmware update, because there's an update available for this, or allegedly. I'll find out once I try to install it whether it already has that one or not. That maybe it just needs to be remapped and the drive will be good again. That would be really nice if that's what happens. I'm skeptical. I got another one ready to deploy it. I'm not going to make the customer suffer the pain of the trial and error. I'm going to swap it out with a new one and restore the image, get the customer going again, and then we'll bring the bad block drive back to the lab and work on it in our spare time, and then no one is inconvenienced. Anyway, he says the disk can't be considered reliable anymore. Well, if the firmware update fails, then that would be true. As the drive is 18 months old, it may still be under factory warranty. Oh, mine's 3 years, so I got 2.5 years to go. So contacting Samsung for technical support, well, I couldn't find a way to contact them for technical support. So I haven't given up trying, but I assume they don't really want to hear from anybody. They want you to use the magic stuff, and if it says it's okay, don't bother us. That's what I bet's going to happen. Anyway, and here's the part that made me do this video today. Anyway, I would copy my important data to another disk and replace this drive ASAP. To me, my data is more valuable than the price of another drive. And please do a fresh Windows install, regardless of whether you keep the drive or replace it. There's no telling what files are damaged and how reliable Windows and other software are now. What? If you've got an image of the drive and the image was created successfully, it's a clean image. And if in doubt, you can run some tools afterward. But I've never heard who wants to sit down with DVDs or thumb drives and then do the patch reboot dance with your machine, and then do the application reinstall dance, and then realize all the stuff you're missing because you wiped the drive and you forgot about that and you didn't back it up somewhere, and that's just a lot of pain. I prefer a 1 hour image restore and back to work you go. None of this rebuilding from scratch crap. What terrible advice that is. Anyway, solid state drive. It's a new frontier again. Um, you know, every it seems every couple of years in the IT world, we get something new, and we all have to learn how it fails. What are the warning signs, and what's the best practices to minimize the pain. And you know, hard disk drives, been there, done that. We all know how that works. Um, Hats off to Steve Gibson. SpinRite saved my bacon many times with his software. But solid state drives, Steve, I'm waiting for you to come up with something that will help me because I really need it today. Uh, yeah, so beware of the advice you get from nobodies on the internet who don't know squat, and always try to deal with some kind of professionalism. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.